I will start with giving a brief introduction of the background of walking project. Then my team and colleagues will take over. Vedant will give an overview of what makes good walking, and Aishwarya will specifically take through the program for which we are setting over here, which is improving walkability on SV road. So we've been working डिटेल में कि SV रोड पे जो चलने की व्यवस्था है वो अच्छी होनी चाहिए because it's the longest arterial road. So my name is Rishi Agarwal and I've been an environmental activist in the city for 25 years. मैंने बहुत सारे मुद्दों पे काम किया है और उनमें से एक मुद्दा रहा है walkability, on which I have for 20 years been raising voices कि चलने के लिए जो सड़कों पे पदयात्री हैं, pedestrians हैं, they should have a good footpaths, and firstly the walking experience should be safe, and then it should be convenient and joyful, because first factor is safety. A lot of times we are seeing people slip, people trip, footpaths are not there, crossing the junction is very dangerous, and it becomes progressively very difficult for people who are differently abled, elderly and children. So our streets are progressively being designed for only movement of cars. तो उसमें एक बहुत inequity है because maximum number of people are walking, and even if people are in cars, then the last 50-100 meters people are walking. So the streets are not formed. Acha, I have to use this? Okay. I thought I'll just no, but I thought you'll make this part. You make this part. Acha, start with it. Okay. So this is the background that yeah, we are MMRs. I would say actually India is only such group जो इतने narrowly focus कर रहा है only on walkability. I mean, so we were started in, you've got given the timeline, right? So this is where we started 2012 when we formally launched walking project. So it's more than 12-13 years now, and this phase was very active till 2017, but it was primarily me who was driving it. कि continuously BMC जाना, letters लिखना, public functions, do these kind of meetings, be on the streets distributing pamphlet, etc. But then I got a bit burnt out around 2017. I was involved with multiple campaigns that time. RAK campaign में मैं जुड़ा था, Coast Road, and it was getting very difficult. And so we stopped, and then 2023 I met Vedant. Vedant joined the team. Vedant is sitting over here in the blue t-shirt, and thanks to Vedant we've really been able to revive walking project in a very, very good way, and that is why the importance of having a team. These kind of things cannot be done alone at all. So after Vedant has joined, उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छी ये presentation ये सब आप देख रहे हो, these are all essentially very, Vedant is exceptionally skilled with design and graphics and all the thing, besides of course domain knowledge. So this has been our timeline, and what we are saying is that आप कोई भी मुद्दे से जुड़े हो, सबके अपने अपने फेवरेट इश्यूज़ होते हैं, सबको ज़रूरी नहीं है कि हम जो काम कर रहे हैं वही अच्छा लगे, लेकिन आप कोई भी इशू से जुड़े हो, आप you're working on gender studies, you're working on issues with senior citizens, you're working with disabled friendly this thing, you're working with children issues, you're working with public health, you're working with climate change, you're working with any issue, walkability touches everything. You want a fun city, you want a beautiful city, तो इसलिए इसमें सबका जुड़ना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. Our theory of change हमसे पूछा जाता है कि क्या है, कि आप as an NGO, as a civil society group, what do you think will actually end up improving walkability on our streets? कि सब लोग चाहते हैं लेकिन वो बदलाव कैसे आएगा? And our theory of change is very clear कि first as a group we feel that it is very important for us to do these kind of meetings, क्योंकि जब तक community aware नहीं होएगी, साथ में जुड़ेगी नहीं, तब तक कोई change नहीं आ सकता. Because like we keep saying कि whom are we doing this work for? ये अगर हमको हॉबी करनी है तो हम दूसरी भी कोई हॉबी कर सकते हैं. This is not really a weekend hobby for us. We are very passionate, we are driven, but community has to join. That is the first thing. Second thing, which is a core part of our work, is that the elected representatives, local MLA, councillor, MP, local ward office, BMC head office, PWD, MMRDA, ये जितने भी हमारे सरकारी गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशंस आर देयर, they need to take cognizance of this issue and they need to work on it. I'll stop here actually, I'll leave it for you Vedant, so you can take it. I'll just stop in 2 minutes. So the first part is that we need, as an advocacy group, we create awareness, we educate people. Second is we petition the government continuously, meet MLAs, meet ward officer, meet municipal commissioner we've been in touch with. Thankfully, we'll be having a meeting hopefully on 15th of July for SV Road. And third very important thing is that we need to fund ourselves, because we are not doing this on Sundays. We are Monday to Friday working on this, even giving Sundays. And it requires funding, and it should be funded, we feel, by the community. And that is why we value individual donors far more than CSR, than individual wealthy donors. So when we started also in 2012, we had a very basic membership of 365 rupees per year, which we said was 1 rupee a day, which is anybody can afford. Anybody can afford. We would much rather take 365 rupees from 10,000 people rather than take 10 lakh rupees from one wealthy individual or 1 crore from CSR, because we feel 10,000 people, by giving 365 rupees, have indicated that this issue matters enough to us that we are willing to put some money. मैं उदाहरण देता रहता हूँ कि मैकडॉनल्ड्स या कोको कोला CSR के पैसे पे नहीं चलते हैं. वो ये नहीं कहते हैं कि अरे हमारा सबसे अच्छा बर्गर है, ये बहुत अच्छा है, हेल्दी है, पूरी ह्यूमैनिटी को ये बर्गर खाना चाहिए, और फिर वो जाते हैं टाटा गोदरेज उनके पास कि आप हमको CSR में पैसा दीजिए, हम अपनी बर्गर बनाने की फैक्ट्री स्टार्ट करेंगे और लोगों को बर्गर डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे. वैसे नहीं चलता है वो मॉडल, ना ही कोको कोला वैसे चलता है. आई थिंक मैकडॉनल्ड्स एंड कोको कोला का जो मॉडल है वही मॉडल हमारे लिए भी होना चाहिए, वेयर ऑल ऑफ यू और एनीबडी एल्स हु इज सीइंग दिस सेज ओके इट्स अ गुड वर्क, मैं साल का इतना पैसा डोनेट करूँगा. सो दैट इज़ 3 पिलर्स ऑफ आवर थियरी ऑफ चेंज. एंड वी होप दैट अब ये मीटिंग में और लोग आने चाहिए थे, नहीं आ पाए हैं. वील क्विकली शो द वर्क वेदांत एंड ऐश्वर्या, and hopefully will not take more than 10-15 minutes because we want to make it more interactive. We want to quickly finish our part, और जिससे आप लोगों की जो thoughts हैं वो आ पाएँ, and we can work together on it. Thank you.
Hi. So I mean you have been looking at this chart for the last minute or two, but imagine like Mumbai mein when we think of transportation, the first I think image that comes in mind is the local train. Local train में बहुत भीड़ है, station area is very crowded, people are hanging out. But if you see in this pie chart, local train trips make 23% of the share, whereas walking makes more than double this share. This is actually for the MMR region, Greater Mumbai, which is BMC area, increases to 51%. And this is important because लोकल ट्रेन से उतरने के बाद अगर आप चलते होगे, then that doesn't get counted in this chart. This is purely train journeys जो immediate vicinity में है. So these are purely walking trips where people are leaving their house, walking and reaching their workplace. This includes house help, all of the people who walk to their workplaces. And you see the important stat over here, 60% of the public transport trips, so the train and the bus, both these trips, uske bhi 60% people are actually walking. Yeah, I didn't check whether I turned my thing on. And yeah, another important thing is 73% of students walk to school. Now schools over here also includes any other education institutions. So we have a young participant over here. I don't know how do you travel to your school?
Van.
Okay, van. So I don't know how many of your classmates must be walking to the school. Okay.
From each class.
Okay.
Class.
Okay. Yeah. In Mumbai we have that the density of public transport and all of the places that make it happen. But even still, the statistics say 73% of students walk to school. Now students, like I mentioned, includes college going people as well. And this is an important strata of the society because they cannot afford to travel via private vehicle. They can't have a driving license until 18. So it makes it very important that our areas are walkable and we are catering to this 73% of students. So let's see what really makes our localities walkable. All of the things that you will see after this are fairly basic, but you will be surprised by the number of people who have come to us after our community walks or community events and have told ki since I attended your thing, we have started finding out problems in the infrastructure, actively looking out for that. And the goal behind making this presentation is that once you head out, you will be able to tell what are the things wrong with our infrastructure and then push for it whenever you are voting, whenever you are going to your local MLA, ward office, whatever. We start with widths. Now this picture I took just before coming over here in the morning, and widths is the most important thing we feel in our walkways. So you can see it is 2.61 meters wide, edge to edge. Now we'll compare it with different footpaths across the city. This is Malad, slightly north of this location. You see 1.9 meters wide footpath. Indian Roads Congress actually says 1.8 meters minimum footpaths hone chahiye. BMC has a separate policy which reduces it down to 1.2 meters. So it would be somewhere over here this wide. This is a picture from Dadar Hindu colony, residential area. It's immediately outside the station, but it's still a residential area. But they have a very nice wide 3 meter wide footpath. So this is wider than the footpath we see right below, even though this is a much high density commercial street. This is a picture I have taken in Kanjurmarg. Rishi has taken actually, and this is on LBS road. You can see 3.5 meters wide, and count the number of people that are walking together, enjoying that space. And you can see that having a nice wide footpath actually caters to not just immediate transportation but well-being, like quality of life in general. This is obviously going to be one of your favorite footpaths. Anybody can guess where this is from? It is South Bombay. Okay, so it is Churchgate Station. If you go from Churchgate Station towards Flora Fountain, this is the Veer Nariman Road ke side ka footpath, and you can see 5.5 meters wide. So the footpath down below was 2.6 meters. This is easily 5.5 meters. And here I want to actually tell about 1/3 ka rule that British Mumbai used to have. All of the roads in British Mumbai you will have seen used to follow a 1/3 rule, where 1/3 of the space of the road was given to footpath. So this road is 33 meters wide. Uska 5.5 this side, 5.5 that side, 11 meters total, and 22 meters for the vehicles. And sadly, after we head to suburban Mumbai, which is after Bandra and Sion, these have just been chopped down. Thankfully, the footpath over below is relatively wide in that comparison. But I want to show you a comparison. This is SV Road Malad and immediately Princess Street. Now both of these streets are exactly the same width. Maybe actually Princess Street is narrower than SV Road, but you can see the width, the immediate feel of the area, the vibe of the area when you are walking changes a lot immediately as the width changes. Which one do you think would be more conducive to walking? The answer is going to be obvious. Second. Princess Street is right outside if you go from Marine Line station towards Crawford Market. So anytime you can visit that location, you would actually see how amazing it is. And according to our Indian design standards, any given footpath is supposed to be divided into 3 sections. उसमें frontage होता है walking and multi-utility zone. Frontage is where shops के बाहर you have चप्पल रखने के लिए जगह, या फिर if you are standing in front of a pharmacy, you need some space to actually do the business. And by design, we are supposed to keep this space separate from the actual walking zone. You are not expected to walk over here. So different designs requirements for different land use requires residential में 0.5, commercial में 1 meter should be left aside for this frontage area activity. A walking zone is the simplest one where you are supposed to walk, and the simple rule of thumb is there should be no obstruction in this walking zone. आपको जो भी रखना है, you have to keep it in the multi-utility zone. Now that includes light poles, trees, hawkers, whatever. surface quality is another important thing. You used to have these kind of paver blocks, now they have moved to something called stamp concrete, but we have had problems with this, and I'm pretty sure the footpath below will also deteriorate in within a year. This is usually what we prescribe for footpaths in the city. This is in situ cast concrete that they have used. Now this is the same material that they have been using in New York since the last 200 years, I guess. And we actually hosted a conclave on the 4th of April this year, and one of our panelists has developed this footpath and the materials and the aesthetics, everything, which is Pankaj Joshi. And he had made a nice point that some of the footpaths in New York are 180 years old and nothing has really happened to them. It's the same material and it's basic concrete M40 grade. Heights is another important thing. Footpath 45 centimeters high in Andheri East, Mahakali Caves Road, and the Indian design standards require a 15 centimeter high, which is a small plastic scale. So imagine if you are anybody trying to walk on a footpath, if this would be this tall, you would obviously not want to walk on it. So it's important, and it is in the law that the footpath should be 15 centimeters, and anytime a footpath around you is being made, you need to keep that in mind, whether the contractor is actually making that happen. Curb ramps is another important thing, the curb slopes. So there's a simple rule of thumb: if a wheelchair can pass unassisted on a curb, it is a decent curb, which will be something like this. This picture is from Chembur, one of the better footpaths in the city. But I mean, obviously this is still not accessible because wheelchair yahan jayega, but there again is a tree. So you don't get all the things in one picture in Mumbai. Sabke liye you will have to go at different locations. Building entrances is another important thing. Now, according to law, the footpath, like I said, has to be flat. You are not allowed to have any slope over there. But that is easier said than done. The builders need to pay heed to having the slope start much in, and yahan pe it should be flatter. Even though this picture would be still illegal according to the Indian guidelines, we think that it is relatively okay to walk on and have a wheelchair pass because it is fairly wide and it has a nice gradient to walk on. Continuous walking length is another important thing. Now you're seeing footpath is ending over here. The colors are not that great, but you can see people are walking over there. Now the main important reason that people walk on any given road is because they are looking for continuity. On this footpath you have this vehicle, you have these potted planters, so you don't have that confidence when you're walking ki I won't have to step down. Whenever you provide a continuous walkable stretch, you want to walk on that footpath. And generally when we go to government offices, they claim कि लोग चलते ही नहीं फुटपाथ हम क्यों बनाए. The thing is, if you design it properly with all of these things in mind, people will use those footpaths. Like we'll see in a video in the next slide. So this is a footpath in Chembur again, the Dayanand Saraswati Marg, Diamond Garden, if you know the area. But you can't see the end of this footpath. That provides you with visual continuity that you want to continuously walk on that footpath. Now this is from Goregaon, right outside Ratna, and tree gratings is another important thing that now you can see the problems with these. You have to walk ऐसे करके. Simple solution to that is having a tree grating which is flat. This is again in the Indian standards but not implemented. A picture from BKC, again Mumbai. We try to keep most of our pictures from within the city because we know how to do it, but we still don't do it across the city. Obstructions. Any utility, any box, any fire hydrant, post box has to be on the multi-utility zone that you saw in the picture of footpath divisions in the start. Yeah, footpath is not wide enough to even place something like this, but this is where the BMC has to enforce their guidelines on whatever the utility company is. This is probably MSCB because this is in Mulund. So that needs to be done. Now this is the video that I was mentioning. You see flat tree gratings, you see this yellow tactile paving for visually impaired people to easily tell that there is an entrance coming up, you need to be more cautious. You see the footpath is continuous and there is no end to it, so you can you have the peace of mind that I can continue walking and check how many people are actually walking on the road. It would be difficult to find one because the footpath provides for all the things.
The slopes are very gentle. So you're getting off one
Yeah.
footpath,
It's content.
very gentle slopes.
And this is, I think, built in 2021, so it has lasted okayish. Huh? Yeah, this is the same in situ cast concrete. Now this is a traffic island. This is a picture from Dadar. This is where you're supposed to go and stand and wait while you cross the signal. I'll show a picture of Goregaon, what you will find in Mumbai usually. So this is a problem that has been occurring across Mumbai. After the G20 summit, they wanted to spend money on beautifying the city, and because they don't really have that many spaces to beautify, they made these traffic islands, which is supposed to be a traffic island, into these flower pot spaces where you can't walk. They'll also shamelessly paint a zebra crossing over here, which heads into nothing. If you want to go there, you will have to do either this or that and get into the harm's way. Same intersection, so same road layout. This is a four-way intersection. This was a four-way intersection. Same direction में आपको जाना है. In London, you are able to walk over here, you get over here, stop, cross it. All the signals are in the correct places, so you know where you need to stop. Lane markings is proper. Red line says you should not park over here. So a lot of it is also about design. We design our city in such a way that it follows science of human behavior, so that we don't really need people to make a lot of mental decisions when they are doing a certain thing, when they are driving, when they are walking. The environment does a lot of it for you. Signage is another important thing. Now, like I said, walking zone, you are not supposed to have something like this, but BMC wants to spend money on something. So you have all of these placed right where you would expect a person to walk and cross over. And signage also, the guidelines mention that the signage has to be intuitive and it should not clutter and it should not create mental agony for the person while they are trying to read. एक ही location पे how many signs are you going to read really? No honking, there's a speed limit का sign, there's no spitting, there's a no parking. I still don't know what this sign is. I have got a driver's license, but I really don't know. I'm going to Google Lens it later on. But signage is important, but it has to be clutter free, and that is how it is written in the design guidelines. This is by MMRDA, this is by BMC, this is by MMRDA, this is MMRDA, this is MMRDA. But there is a lack of coordination and unnecessary spending of money in a lot of these things. Most of these can be enforced by design itself. No parking sign का ज़रूरत नहीं है. In London, you don't have no parking signs. You simply have either a red paint or there is no space to park. So the roads are designed that way. And this is a picture I clicked in Lalbagh Botanical Gardens in Bangalore, and it was easy to navigate to. I know where the glass house is, I know where the silk tree is, and that is how it helps. यहाँ से अभी गोरेगांव स्टेशन कैसे जाना है, I don't know which road to take, what turn to make. And we used to have some nice old signage which was right hanging at a head level, so it was not blocking while you're walking. And it told you, and it was easy to place at the intersection itself, so that you know this road is Walkeshwar Road. You will see a lot of road signs now which will be placed like 50 meters inside the road. So you have to go in and then know that road is actually this GM Shroff Road. Adequate crossings is important. You will see in that picture students are standing at the median and waiting for their turn to cross, and this is what Mumbai has been recently doing, where a lot of these medians, to facilitate vehicle traffic, they are adding this. And in a very recent meeting we were having with MMRDA guys, we showed this picture to him and he said, "Arey मैं भी ऐसे ही cross करता हूँ." Now this is the infrastructure that MMRDA in some sense has built. Now he gave the reason for this is कि we had suggested this, we had done surveys as well, but the traffic police said कि आप निकाल दो ये, because a lot of people are dying over there, and आप ये निकाल दोगे तो people can die on their own risk, so it doesn't come in our statistics. So that is the level of things that we are going on in this city right now. And they had done some
There
studies.
is not enough data about that.
Yeah.
It is your word versus my word.
Yeah.
Whether people are actually, and also the important point that these are not highways, these are city
Yeah.
roads. और क्योंकि आप ज़्यादा एफएसआई दे रहे हो, so both sides are becoming very dense. और लोगों को क्रॉस करना, मतलब आप ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते आप 100 मीटर सिग्नल तक जाओ फिर क्रॉस करो और फिर वापस से पीछे 100 मीटर चल के. तो पीपल यूज देयर सेंस एंड इंट्यूटिवली दे आर एबल टू क्रॉस. इतने एक्सीडेंट भी नहीं हो रहे हैं. ये क्या है, पैसा खर्च करके फिर बिल्डर्स को वहाँ पे अपना प्रोजेक्ट का एडवर्टाइजमेंट करवाना.
And also there is a important statistic कि in Netherlands they have a city-wide max limit of 30 kilometers per hour. कि आपकी गाड़ी उससे ज़्यादा फास्ट चलनी नहीं चाहिए इन द सिटी बिकॉज देर इज साइंस बिहाइंड इट. At 50 kilometers per hour, if a vehicle hits a pedestrian, the death rate is 90%. So 9 out of 10 times somebody will perish. But it comes down to 1 out of 10 or 10% if it is at 30 kilometers per hour. And the fun thing about this is कि there's nothing fun about it, but the fun thing about this statistic is कि मुंबई का average vehicle speed right now is 22 kilometers per hour. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि हम रूल डाल देंगे एंड व्हीकल का स्पीड्स बहुत कम हो जाएगा. इन द अर्बन इंटरनल रोड्स रिक्शा में आप बैठो, इट गोज मैक्सिमम 15 to 16 किलोमीटर पर आवर एंड दैट इज द एवरेज स्पीड्स. इफ यू आर मेंटेनिंग आवर एवरेज स्पीड्स एंड डिजाइनिंग आवर सिटीज प्रॉपर्ली, देयर विल बी नो ट्रेड ऑफ विद द अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम यू आर रीचिंग एट, अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम इट इज टेकिंग टू रीच समवेयर, बट इट वुड मेक आवर सिटीज सेफर. This is a relatively better crossing, but there's one, it's flat, you can cross easily, but one problem is the wheelchair can't pass. It has to be 1.2 meters wide to allow for a wheelchair over here. We try to not do that 1.2 ka thing because we don't want two wheelers. That BMC tells us that in all of our interactions, but it is their job to enforce vehicles who are going onto the footpaths or driving onto the footpath. And there are other design solutions like a staggered bollard system or a different which allows a wheelchair to pass but a two-wheeler to not pass. It has been the problem is solved already. Hawkers, this is Goregaon West again. That is the bus depot. Hawkers is the number one issue that comes to us in each and every of our conversations. ये BMC हो, local people, citizens, whatever. And hawkers is a thing that exists in Mumbai because we are not even middle income, we are a low income country actually. And there is a lot of activity, there's a lot of requirement for these kind of hawking to not just employ them but also for the people to buy. Now I'll give you an example. 1864 में Crawford Market was built, which back then Mumbai's population was 8 lakh people. Now Mumbai's population is 240 lakhs. So 8 lakhs से 240 lakhs बढ़ गया है. And that would be around I think what 37 times I think. Yeah, 37 times I think is the math. I don't remember the exact year. But do we see 37 Crawford Market size markets in the city? The answer is no. We have not bothered to build markets. Any city grows, it has to provide for more playgrounds, hospitals, schools. Similarly, there has to be retail space, market spaces. You look at Turkish bazaars, you look at Singapore ka hawker markets. They have created spaces for these things and we have not. We kind of, I mean, whenever we have had communications, people have said कि हाँ हमने बनाया है hawker market, but it's like a 25-story building.
There's a very good municipal market on the right.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's I think.
But that's like very badly maintained or not adequate.
Not adequate, and it's I think one level only, ground level so far.
We had stopped once.
It has been
Yeah.
demolished and the building is going on from last 10 years.
ज्ञान चटर्जी सब बताएंगे आपको यहाँ बहुत डिटेल है उनके पास.
Yeah.
बहुत easy.
Last 10 years, it is 10 to 15 has been passed and still are they in the cut down.
So markets, hawkers want to be where the footfall is. Yeah. I know. Hawkers want to be. I know. Hawkers want to be where the footfall is. You can't place them in a 25-story building and expect people to go to the hawker market. So this is a nice bus depot. A lot of other cities like Japan have done it such a way कि railway station से बाहर निकलते ही there is a whole space where you can hawk at, where people can pass through. There's a lot of retail space. We are doing with some of our metro stations as well. But if we are able to integrate some of this hawking into that, and the thing is ki they are not freeloaders as well, they are paying hafta to the BMC. That money is pocketed by the BMC people or whoever, police, all of these people. So there is some amount of market dynamics in this. But the problem is we don't integrate that market dynamics within our system of managing things. They could easily pay a 5,000 rupees a month. It goes all the way up to 25,000 rupees in the busiest locations in the city. There is a Times of India article on this in which they mention this. And 25,000 rupees is enough to get money from them as well as maintain the market, lighting, cleanliness, everything can be done properly. And according to Indian standards, you have to place hawkers. The footpath has to be first of all wide enough, and you can have hawking which is regulated and is placed in the multi-utility zone of the footpath. This is a footpath in Shivaji Park. You have this hawker, it doesn't really bother anyone. Can be done a bit better, but still one of the better locations. It's parking right outside Malad station, and parking is sadly not as big of a problem told to us by the people as compared to hawking. But the thing is ki right now with our 15 lakh cars and 26 lakh two-wheelers, Mumbai is requiring upwards of 18 square kilometers of parking space. तो आप Bandra station पे एक dot डालो, map, imagine a map, Bandra station पे एक dot डालो, put another dot at the bandstand, next dot put it at Andheri station, another dot put it at Warsaw beach. तो इस rectangle के बीच में जितना भी land area है, that would be covered by car parking. If we were to surface park our 15 lakh cars, that is just to get you to visualize the. Yeah, that is just private vehicles, and it is also not including the space you would require, roads you would require to approach those parking spaces. I'm just talking about a standard 5 meters by 2.5 meters parking space. Yeah, and two-wheelers के लिए additionally आपको Marine Drive का जो circle bay है area, that would be additionally two-wheelers the amount of space it would require. So there is a real need to arrest how many cars we are adding to the roads. BMC tries to build parking lots for 300 crores. जो बनेगा 3 साल में, it will provide 1200 vehicles parking spaces, but Mumbai adds over 200 cars into the city every week. तो आपका एक महीने के अंदर the amount of space you are adding in 3 years is getting exhausted. So it's not sustainable. And this is a problem in this picture as well. You will see कि this is the actual road जहाँ पे vehicles are expected to walk on. This is what we call the shoulder portion, which is where you park at or whatever other activity is done, and there is supposed to be a footpath which is not present in this image. So what happens is we have weird widths on our roads, and we build footpaths like this. एक footpath consistent width का बना देंगे, and कोने में बीच में this space is completely wasted. Now this is what it is actually supposed to be like, जहाँ पे footpath increases or decreases. If the footpath is wide enough, you could have retail space on that, hawkers which are designated a proper box कि इसके अंदर you are allowed to run your activity, and the road remains consistent, parking space is added consistently, so that it is much more orderly and the traffic flow improves. इस image में क्या होता है कि rickshaws, when there is a wide space, rickshaws try to do this and then merge again. It adds to the traffic, slows down the entire movement. Now this is a video from Pune I really want you guys to see, because this was done under the Smart City mission in 2017. This video I have shot in February this year, so it's been 8 years, footpath is in this conditions. Now what are all the features that you see in this footpath? Road is consistent, parking space, this is actually a cycle track which is not used but it's consistent. You have a parking के लिए proper base created over here. आपका footpath is what actually is increasing or decreasing. You have a tactile paving for visually impaired people to easily navigate that route. You have the bollards, and this is what a well designed footpath would look like. आपकी signage is head level के ऊपर है, so you are not hitting that road signage whatever. Bollards are not claustrophobic. You also have a tabletop crossing, so you don't have to get down on the road level. Vehicles also slightly slow down because of that speed breaker kind of a crossing that you see. And everything that, most of the things, यहाँ पे भी utility pole वहाँ पे है, but it's not obstructing because the tree line is over there. Now this was done by Prasanna Desai Architects. You can go on their website to check the before pictures, and it looks like any Mumbai street actually, back in 2017. And people were very complaining about कि इतना फुटपाथ बड़ा कर दोगे, ट्रैफिक होगा अगर. So until that point the camera recording was going on, but I was recording it on my phone and I got a call and sadly the recording stopped over there, so we lost around 20 minutes of footage from the end of the presentation. But hopefully we will be recording most of the future community talks that we host at different venues. Not a lot will be lost, even though I'm a little sad that we did lose out on quite an important segment of the community talk, which was slightly different than the last one that we recorded. But yeah, what can you do? Next time, learning opportunity for us to use do not disturb mode if we are recording on our phones. But yeah, bye.